Why do you do this to me? I'm not a real person to you, am I? Just a Wojak-esque monochrome cartoon forced into the will of the click every time a few less than 24 pilots drop a bombshell onto my projected Spotify Wrapped. Cameron Winter was going to be my most listened to artist of the year, and I was going to get away with it too, if it weren't for you meddling kids! Okay, I'm ready. I refuse to spend the time to talk about every single one of their songs again. If you want to see that, you can watch the last video. It's over an hour long. Put a lot of effort into it. A lot of detail. Very big. Extremely very not small. And it's only been a year. Not much has changed. But I know if I don't list out all the songs, I won't be able to call this video ranking every 21 Pilots song. So what's going to have to happen is just I'm going to beam it to you, okay? Ready? Here we go. Beam. Okay. So we're just going to go through the Breach songs and add them to the list after. But first, The Line. The studio version of The Line, I think, is very song. It is one of the songs. It sounds great. Love the atmosphere, love the drumming. Josh is killing it with a drum pattern that's different from the standard 21 Pilots style. Very interesting. Tyler's singing, not my favorite. Very weak, very shaky, needs to go to the gym. And I'm not saying he's not allowed to alter his vocal delivery for the sake of adding emotion to his performance, but I don't think the emotion of his voice is matching the emotion of the lyrics or sound. Would probably give this version a 6 out of 10. The live version, however. His voice sounds so much more confident and clear, and the scream? That's at least an 8, maybe 9 out of 10. But yeah, the studio version is alright. Yo, this is me editing the video, and I realized that I forgot the demo version of Doubt, which happened, and I like it. It's around the same as the original, like the blurry face version, I'll call it. And I guess I do prefer the blurry face version slightly more because of a few things, such as the outro. You know, it's missing from the demo version, and I like that outro. It's kind of my favorite part of the song. And then also the demo version sort of repeats some verses where the blurry face version has new lyrics instead. But I think one thing that the demo version does better is the production, because I believe Paul Meany helped clean it up before they sent it out into the wild. So it sounds very nice. With the sort of, not exception, but like I had to get used to the vocal effects that's persisting throughout the entire song as opposed to just on the chorus, but, you know, it's fine. I'd declare it enjoyable. 6 out of 10. I knew going in that City Walls would be ending the lore, that it'd be the climax of the story that they started on Blurry Face, but I wasn't expecting to be left speechless on the first song of the album. The sound is exquisite. It's a mix of Jumpsuit's dirty bass and the brighter rock elements that were introduced on Clancy, getting some overcompensate vibes when it comes to rapping. For some reason, I thought of Owl City during the bridge. But the thing that struck me the most with the song, as it did for a lot of people, was the references to Vessel. I would never have guessed that, since Vessel was the album before the lore even started. And this would not be the last time listening to this record that I got the impression that Breach was made for 21 Pilots fans. I loved the throwback to Migraine with Island of Violence, and even implementing the daytime-nighttime comparisons that were so prevalent throughout Vessel's imagery. And the outro, which is sick on its own, from a composition perspective and the powerful screaming, but managing to tie in Entertain My Faith from Holding On To You into the epic, emotional conclusion of the story, giving it that final push to remind everyone what the story has been about beyond the characters they invented. Holy smokes. This is a 10. What a bop. What an absolute banger. I'm getting some My Blood flashbacks with its bopability, and the lyrics of the song capture the entire message of the lore. Like, the bridge in particular is phenomenal. Learning all that really matters is a slow and painful lesson. It is not pass or fail, but a poisonous progression. What incredible sincerity and maturity. It's forward in its messaging without being blunt. When an amazing tempo change and infectious backing vocals as well, like holy. Raw Fear is frankly everything that I would want an alternative pop song to be. I think I like it more than City Walls. Glad the band has existed long enough for Josh to get his own car radio track. Another moment to add to our Vessel reference counter. Drum Show sounds like a natural progression of Next Semester and Navigating, but heavier, with screaming. More akin to Jumpsuit. Another moment to add to our Jumpsuit reference counter. Besides the instrumentation, Tyler's performance is also great. I do love the screaming, but even in the previous choruses and verses, I love how Tyler is... I love how he's holding his voice, I guess. And the debut performance of Josh Dun on the vocals. Pretty great. Nothing too extravagant is happening lyrically. Like, the bridge, despite Josh's solid delivery, is very simple. But I do like how the I want to change line progresses into the final chorus. And the stuck between a rock and a home line is just chef's kiss. One thing I learned that I did find a bit disappointing though is that the drum fill before the final chorus is missing from the physical editions of Breach. I don't know if they just rushed getting the CDs and vinyl ready, but it's a bit sad. I love that drum fill. 9 out of 10 at least. Perchance 10 out of 10, possibly. I feel like garbage. A little blunt, perchance. Saying I feel like garbage is kinda a dead metaphor. You're technically using some imagery, but the saying is so common that it's lost its potency for me. The line reminds me of Midwest Indigo's saying, "It makes me sad." Like, technically nothing wrong with it, but not my cup of tea. Once again though, production is fantastic. The piano sounds super clean. Shout out to Paul Meany for his contributions throughout the entirety of Breach. Love the call and response backing vocals in the chorus here. Personal favorite part of the song is probably the outro with Tyler belting out "Don't Give Up on Me." To me that's a much better expression of emotion than the opening line. He's not saying how he feels, he's saying something because of how he feels. Overall, I might honestly prefer the piano riff / score progression of Mulberry Street, but this track is more well-rounded, better paced, brighter, so I think it's a more than decent entry into the track list. I'll give it a strong 7. I was not in love with the contract on first listen. The vocal effect and the hook, kinda whack. I've gotten used to it, but it's still not my favorite. Freaking love the rap and scream in the second verse / pre-chorus though. And in general, the sound of the song was fascinating. The structure was slightly more unconventional, the frequent switch-ups and vocal style had me locked in. And that's how I would describe this song for me. It's more experimentally interesting than emotionally investing. A one-of-a-kind song for the 21 Pilots discography, but I'll have to give it a 7 out of 10 for now. Welcome Back Sail by AWOL Nation. Downstairs is the track where my opinion has been shifting non-stop since the album's release. On the one hand, I desperately love how they brought back the Korea demo, a 14-year-old song, which I remember listening to a decade ago, and they completed it for Breach. Hearing how they fleshed out those original ideas for this final version was honestly kinda emotional. And the emotion that Tyler poured into his singing compounded that feeling. And I also love how this was another moment that was for the fans. Bringing back a regional at best era song and treating it with their current expertise? Like, what a sweet thing to do. But on the other hand, after that initial surprise faded away, I began questioning if I actually liked how the chorus sounded, since it was towing the line of being unnecessarily loud and compressed. Plus, in context of the whole album, the song sounds so 2011, like it sticks out like a sore thumb. Anyway, right now, I've sort of landed on this song being great up through the second chorus. With the bridge and afterwards, I think the sounds alternates between loud and quiet a bit too much and too frequently, causing moments like the scream, there's a lot of screaming on this record, to feel more out of place than they should have. 6 out of 10, but could change in the future. Robot Voices is also a Sonic standout because it sounds like they distilled the essence of indie rock and released 3 droplets onto their soundboard. It sounds nothing like Toilet Palace has ever done before! So when I learned that they collaborated with the indie band Blanket Approval to take their song My Soft Spots, My Robots and rework it with their pilot's flair, I was like, oh, that makes sense. I think conceptually, that is super cool, and I hope that Blanket Approval gets some well-deserved attention because of this. When it comes to Robot Voices though, I think, despite the excellent production, we still love you, Paul Meany. I bet you thought that I forgot about you since the last time I mentioned you, but nope. I think despite the production, there's not much pulling me in lyrically. I'm not able to resonate with it that much. And I could be dumb. I could just be missing a really obvious meaning as to what the robot voices are, and I'd be able to empathize with the message more upon that realization. But right now, it's just a fun song, which is fine. I like fun. I see people adding this to so many playlists. Like, fun out of 10. It's a 6. Holy. I don't even know what to say. I guess to start off, the audio clips of moments from the Clancy tour made me smile so much. Yet another inclusion that makes Breach feel like it's for the fans. And I'm glad that we have another Josh Dun name drop to add to the collection. When the drums come in to bring some energy to that jazzy ambiance, I was taken a bit aback by how snappy they were. Loved the flow and all the ghost notes involved. Coupled with Tyler's rapping, I think this is a kind of hip-hop influence that we haven't seen infect their songs before. The switch up to the melodic chorus is fantastic. I love the imagery of trying to make yourself smaller in response to anxiety or being threatened. And then the whole outro. I don't have the words to describe it. It is a 10 for sure. Cottonwood is definitely giving Neon Gravestones. Very somber piano, which I like because I'm a freak addicted to sad songs. And the lyrics about looking back in time and seeing your younger self staring back brings a whole new perspective to realizing how far you've come. And it brings attention to how your younger self may have anticipated some things, such as the death of a loved one in this case. I think the biggest critique I have is that the first verse was kinda iffy. The drums, mainly the snare, sounded a bit too prominent, too sharp for the beginning of the song. By the second verse, I think they were mixed well, but they were a bit distracting at first. And then Tyler's singing felt off for the first line or two as well. But other than that, it is a great track, and I don't have much else to say. 8 out of 10. Another absolute bop. To me, One Way has the same drunken vibe as Lavish, and I am here for it. The bass line is groovy, the backing vocals add depth, and the delay/reverb make it otherworldly. Tyler also has such interesting vocals on this track. Throughout the entire album, he's been obviously giving his all and trying new things with his voice. I think the message of the song is rather simple about artistic ambition, but like The Outside, you can't stop yourself from moving up and down to it. And Josh's voice message, Tyler is freaking hilarious. 8 out of 10 easily. I'm afraid this song will be slept on just because it's later in the track list. Days Lie Dormant is immediately dynamic, with Tyler going from screaming to breathy, accompanied by the impatient guitars and drums. The track sounds like a mix between a song by The Strokes and a stage play. The message also adds a different perspective to our collection of Jenna songs, emphasizing the juxtaposition of Jenna encouraging Tyler to chase after the unique, fun experiences available to him, while at the same time missing him dearly when he's out on tour. The bridge, that transition to the final chorus with the crash cymbals and vocal harmonies and the drum fill going from left to right, is honestly a highlight of the entire album for me. I feel so spoiled. 10 out of 10. Tally is another one that has been slowly growing on me. On my first listen, I was not a big fan of the verses, and while the bass stabs are still not my favorite, I've grown to appreciate the rhythm of it. I did love the chorus immediately, both musically and lyrically, and the bridge? Ugh. Tyler, may I have your lungs? Tally was also a welcome song thanks to how I can imagine it tying directly to the lore, with Clancy Tyler talking to Torchbearer Josh after failing yet again, acting both surprised and appreciative of their friendship and Josh's commitment to helping Tyler. I'll give it a 7 for now, but we'll see if it becomes an 8. And finally, Intentions. Don't worry, we'll get to Drag Path in a second, but Intentions still feels like the conclusion of the album. This track was yet another one that was difficult for me to get into. Not because of anything bad about the song, but because all I could hear was truce. It was difficult for me to like the song for its own sake, because I could only process the song as truce but in reverse. Because that's what it is, for those who don't know. Not just the ooze, but the entire melody is the reverse of truce. Thankfully, after enough listens, I was able to look past that and enjoy the melody for how it is here, and how drenched it is in atmosphere. And I could also enjoy how it wraps together the cycle of personal struggles by saying that the effort is what's important. You may never be completely free of your anxieties or bad habits, but your intentions influence your direction, and you should be proud of that. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. I'm upset about Drag Path. It feels kind of weird to immediately, the day of the album release a separate version with a bonus track that's behind a timed paywall. Like, why is this? I want this song to be on streaming so bad. This song is so good. It is heinous to me that it is not available for everyone to enjoy. I don't have much to say in terms of breaking the song down critically. I will say that I immediately, like first line of the song, I immediately thought of Paladin Straits. I actually went and compared melodies since they sounded so similar. Like, guess I never told you so. When I see the devil's eyes. But besides that, I adore the Would You Please Hurry build up in the bridge and the bridge in general, how the whole song has a storyteller vibe to it. The lo-fi drum roll scratches my brain. This song seems like it would have fit into the Trench location sessions, getting the hype Berlin. It's just, I don't know. It's a 10. I want easy access to it. I guess to end this off, I can give some overall album thoughts on Breach with the original 13 tracks, excluding Drag Path. It's freaking great. Production is immaculate. I liked how there was less obsession with vocal layering in comparison to Clancy. Tyler's voice was given some room to breathe, and he was so versatile with how he delivered lyrics, plus all the backing vocals were sick. The drumming was crisp, Josh was killing it, and if I were to actually compare the whole album to Clancy, Breach may be slightly better. Some people think this is way above Clancy, but I think that would be doing Clancy a disservice. Breach has more interesting sounds for sure, but Clancy has a better thematic through line. If Clancy is like an 8.3, Breach is like an 8.6. If Drag Path were included, Breach would be like a 9. But this is all still my relatively early impressions. I can frankly imagine all the songs I gave a 7 to, jumping up to an 8. One Way may jump up to a 9. All I know is that, no matter what, I will be obsessively listening to this for a long time. And I guess that's it. Stay alive and... Wait, what? You want the whole list? With the new songs included? Okay, beam. Okay, bye.